Hello everyone, welcome to your next holiday 2022 series video. So today we're going to be making this really sweet acetate album, so you can see right through the front of it, and I'm going to take you step by step through how to create the acetate album. I used the Carousel collection by Bo Bunny. It's an older collection, and even when I got it, I was not able to get I think it's called Carousel Christmas. Yes, Carousel Christmas is what I think it's called. Even when I got it, I was not able to get the whole collection. I just got a couple sheets of the pattern paper, but I was not able to get the whole collection even when I did get it. So I don't know if you can still find it somewhere. Probably, I'm not sure. I think it's a couple years old at this point, but I'm not positive on that. So let's go through it. So it is an acetate album, but I'm also going to show you guys how to make your full front and back pages with just one sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and you don't even have to cut it down. So I think that's really cool. So I just matted it, just the spine part all the way around. And then this was one of the cut aparts. So it's something like this here, like one of the 4x6 cut aparts. So I just cut it out, and that is what I put on the front here. And then you open it up, and then all I did here is I just added another one of the cut aparts to cover the foam tape, but you guys will see that in the tutorial. And then here in this pocket, we have two photo mats that will fit 4x6 photos, but I made them slightly taller so that we could add a little bit of embellishment. Then this little Santa's from the cut aparts, but I left him open so you can slide your picture under there. And then there's also room on the back for photos. And then we go to page 2. So this page has a little flip down here. So you could either journal or add a photo, and it has a magnetic closure. And then it opens up to here where you can have another photo or journaling. And then there's more space for photos here. And I left this open so you can tuck your photo under it. I only glued it here. And then this is just a floating 4x6 photo mat. So you can fit a 4x6 photo on the front, a 4x4 on the back. And then the magnet from this just holds this in. Then for page 3, this flips open right here like this, and it does have a magnetic closure, so you have space for a photo here and a photo here, or journaling. And then in the pocket here, we have two 4x6 photo mats, so you're able to fit 4 photos on these two. This is a cut apart from the collection. It's a candy cane, so I just think it's cute if they're kind of connected together like that. And then that just goes back into the pocket here. And then we go to page 4. So page 4, you can have a small spot for a photo here. You could mat this as well for a photo, and then it opens up like this. And then I put a 4x6 photo mat, and you can put photos front and back. And then I used one of the cut aparts, but again, I left it open so you can stick your photo under this. And then here, I didn't put a camera strap because I thought it's a nice large spot for a 5x7 photo if that's what you want to do here. But it also could be a really good place to write about the whole book. So I think overall, if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, let's count them up quick. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, about 19 photos, you know, give or take, depending on how you mat it. I mean, you can put photos everywhere if you want, right? But so pretty good for a very simple to put together book. It's actually really easy to make this little album. So let's get into it. All right, guys, let's get started with the base for our acetate album. So you're going to need a piece of black cardstock. So I'm using 110-pound black cardstock here that measures 4 by 7.5. On the 4-inch side, you're going to score it 1.5 inches, flip it in your scoreboard, and score it 1.5 inches, okay? Then what I've done is on the other side, so this is going to be the inside, I have attached score tape all over this 1.5" section and all over this 1.5" section, okay? When you're attaching it though, try not to go all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom, because we're going to need to cover that afterwards with pattern paper, and it's easier if, you know, we don't have to do the whole flap, but I'll kind of explain that as I get there. And then I also have 2 pieces of my acetate that measure 5.5 by 7.5. And the acetate that I'm using is from Cricket's, and it says clear acetate sheets. I don't believe it says anywhere the weight of the sheets or anything like that, but this is the one that I use, and I got it from Michael's, as I said before, okay? So they measure 5.5 by 7.5, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach my acetate here and here, okay? I would definitely not recommend using wet glue for this, because if it gets onto your acetate, it's very, very hard to get it off, okay? So before we go any further, let's fold and burnish on our score lines here. Just like this. All right, just so we kind of have a really clear indicator of where our acetate's gonna go. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove, let's remove just one of our backings from the tape. All right, and then we're just going to line it up right along our score line here. So put it all the way down to the edge and right along the score line. Just make sure you don't go over your score line with it. All right, and then we can kind of just bring this up and remove these other 2 backings here. So remove this one first, and this one, and then just kind of let it fall where it wants to. All right, so that is one side attached. So we'll attach the other side the same way. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the back backing here, and then just line it up at the bottom and along that score line, but not on the score line. Just like that. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll just bend it back. And I mean, if you're comfortable taking off all the tape at once, that is certainly something that you can do. But for me, that is not something I was comfortable with. And then just kind of let it drop where it wants to. And so you'll see what I kind of mean. We're going to have to mat this, so it's best not to go all the way to the edges with the pattern paper or with the tape. All right, so there is the base for our little acetate album. All right, now for our pages, I really wanted to incorporate an entire 8.5 by 11 sheet for the pages without having to add extra flips and flaps to the pages, just to kind of challenge myself to do something different. So I have some light blue cardstock here from Michael's. It's 65 pound. It measures 8.5 by 11. On the 8.5 inch side, I scored it 1/2 inch. This is going to be our L hinge, so this is going to be our binding system. So I scored it 1/2 inch, and then I scored at 5 3/4. Then I flipped it and I scored it at 7 1/4. Okay, it's very hard to see kind of the lines in this paper for some reason, which is why I added a visual here. So remember 8.5 by 11. On the 8.5 side, you scored 1/2 inch and at 5 3/4. Then on the 11-inch side, I just scored at 7 1/4, okay? And I did that twice for 2 different sheets. Then what I did is on the front side here, I added my score tape to this little 1/2 inch section. Then on the back, I added it to the 1/2 inch section on the bottom. And this is just going to be for closures and stuff like that. So you can use glue for that, but I just thought for the convenience, I'll just add the score tape. So do that twice, okay, for both of your pages. So we're going to make 2 different page styles with the exact same scoring, okay? So what we're going to do is over here on this little 1/2 inch section, I'm going to cut on my score line, just like this. And then I'm going to do a little angle up, just cut out a wedge right there, okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut along my score line here. So this is where I've made the pencil mark. We're going to cut along the score line here. Just like this. And then we're going to try to just like cut that pencil line out. So I'm just going to fold this up so it's out of my way for a second here. Just make sure I get it folded properly at least. And so yeah, I'm going to try to make sure that whole pencil line is gone. And that's just going to kind of be a visual for cutting out our score line, okay? So it's just a super, super thin piece, okay? So for this page, what we're going to do is I'm going to get a pencil and a ruler. And from my score line in here, so you can actually just go ahead and bend this back so it's easier to see here. From the score line in, so from the edge here, I'm going to mark in at 1.5 inches. So I'm just marking in 1.5 inches right there. And then from the bottom here up, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches. And you could leave this pocket square, which is, you're kind of going to see that in the other example, but I just wanted to make this one a little bit fancier. And then align those 2 tick marks with your ruler. And just make a pencil line across, just like that. And then we're going to cut that off. So just, you could use a craft knife, you could use your paper trimmer. I'm just going to keep it simple with my scissor. And then you can erase those tick marks. All right, so then this is going to get glued up here, just like this. All right, so you can go ahead and bend this one back. That's your attaching flap. And then we'll take off the tape here and bring this pocket up. Just make sure it's aligned with the edge of the page over here. And you can burnish that. All right, now this, where this score line is going to get folded towards the back of the page, okay? So this is what's going to be on the back of our page. And then this little flap is going to come up on top of this as another little flap. And we're going to add a magnetic closure to this. So we can grab a magnet, a set of magnets. I've got my 1 by 12 millimeter magnets here. And I'm going to grab my score tape. So this is just my score tape. And I'm going to put one of my magnets on the top of the flap right about here. And put a piece of tape on there. And then we'll take our other one, put the tape upside down on the back of the flap here. So just kind of feel where it is. Let it catch. Just bring it up nice and flat. And then that'll keep that cute little flap closed. So we have, this is the front of the page with the pocket. And then this is the back of the page here. And then we can actually add one more magnet here, and that'll keep it all closed. So just put a piece of tape upside down, let this one catch, and then close this down. And so then that'll keep all of our little flaps closed. Something else that I was thinking would be cute is if we actually did a little like tag shape on here, but I'll show you how to do that with the pattern paper. So you've got the flap that comes down, and then it opens here. And then on the front, you have this cute diagonal pocket. And we did that all with one sheet of 8.5 by 11 paper. So now for the other one, it's the exact same scoring. So 8.5 by 11, we scored at 1/2 inch all the way down on the 8.5 side. And then we scored at 5 3/4. And then on the 11-inch side, we just scored at 7 1/4. So this time we're actually going to cut out. We're going to cut in from here instead of up from the bottom. So again, I'm basically just trying to cut out my pencil line, because that's going to be a good indicator that I cut out the score line, which is what we want, just so it folds itself nicely and everything. All right, then over here, just go ahead and cut along your score line and do a little angle up, just like this, okay? So this one's gonna look like this. So let's go ahead and bring in this side one here. And this piece is actually gonna fold back on itself. So we're gonna bring this one up now, and then the little flap is gonna be on top of this pocket here at the front. So we can go ahead and attach this one. So just bring it up like that. And then this one is going to come back, and we can add a little magnet for the closure. So just put that there, kind of, and then just a piece of tape over it. Put another piece of tape on top of that, let it catch, and just close it over, and just kind of burnish where it is there. And then that is attached on this side. Okay, then this one is going to fold back, and it's going to be on the other side. So let's just fold this down as well. So then we can add a magnet for the closure over here. So I've got my magnets. I'm going to put one there. Get it away from its friend so it lets me, like that. And then this one will go upside down, the tape, so sticky side up. Let that one catch and close it down. All right, so then that's closed up. So we've got our little flap here and our pocket here. So this is kind of just a full open pocket. And then we've got a flap on the other side. And with our first page, we have our angle pockets. On the back, we have a flap that comes down, and then it opens. So pretty cool. So that's our pages. Like, they're super basic, but how cool is it that we did that with like 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 paper? All right, guys, so for the page that has the angle pocket and then this little flap that comes down on the back, I just want to show you a few things about this page before I go ahead and mat the rest of the book. So for here, for my angle pocket, I've cut a piece of the pattern paper that measures 5 by 3.5. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to place it on here so that I can kind of see my even border all the way around, so I can see an even 1/8 of an inch blue border. And then I'm going to mark in here about an 1/8 of an inch from the edge, and I'm going to mark down about an 1/8 an inch from that edge. Okay, then you can take a pencil and a ruler and just connect those marks, and then just make your pencil line, and then we'll just cut that off. And again, you can obviously use your paper trimmer or craft knife, whatever you want. All right, so now when we put this on here, it's going to layer perfectly on there, okay? And then for the back of this page, for this little flap here that folds down, I just want to do a little kind of fun tag shape to it. So I've got a piece of the pattern paper here, and I actually use the same one. It's my favorite one. And this one measures 3.5 by 2.5. And all I'm going to do on the top here, I'm just going to use my scissors and make just a little angle cut like this, okay? Then I'm going to remove the backing here of my score tape. And I'm going to add my glue there. And I'm going to place it on here, just being aware of that even blue border all the way around. And then we can just snip there and there. All right, and then that just gives us that kind of fun like tag top shape, okay? So we can glue this one on quickly too, and then we'll attach them into the book, these pages, and then I'm gonna go ahead and mat the rest of it. And you guys know for matting, I always just go down 1/4 inch, so just measure the area that you're working with and just go down 1/4 inch in your size. All right, so what I mean by that is if I was trying to mat this inside here, right, I would measure this. So it measures 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. So my mat would be 5 by 3.5. Okay, so whether you're using, white cardstock, so you can put a photo there, or if you're using pattern paper, that's totally up to you. All right, so I'm going to grab the album, and you can decide at this point, what you want. If you want this one at the front, if you want this one at the front. I think I'm going to put this one at the front. So we're going to put this one on first here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it all the way to my score line here and just center it in top and bottom because it's a 1/4 of an inch shorter. And I'm just going to remove a little bit of the backing right now, not all of it, and just bend it back so that you can see it there. So I'm going to start by lining up the top here and just kind of maybe even bring this in because it's pretty hard to tell. And just make sure it's centered. And then you can kind of remove the rest of your backing there. All right, so that is our first page attached in. Now we can go ahead and attach the other one. So that one's just going to go along the edge of that one. So again, just remove some of the backing, bend it back, and then just place it right along the previous one. Try to put it all the way up to it because you don't want the black showing in between them. And then just remove the rest of your backing, just like that. All right, and as simple as that is both of the pages attached into the book. So, perfect. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and finish matting these, and then we'll talk about a few other things. All right, so I finished matting the book. So this is just a cut apart from the collection. It was like a 4x6 cut apart, and I just cut this image out of it, and that's basically the only thing I did on the front besides just matting the spine piece. So a few things I still need to do that I wanted to go over with you guys. We need to cover these, and we will need to cover this, like where it shows the foam adhesive I used here. So first we will cover these. So what I've done is I have cut some strips of pattern paper that measure 1 by 7 1/4, and I put score tape on the back of them because I don't want to use glue, like wet glue, on the acetate. So I just put 2 pieces of my score tape. And then just kind of carefully, as you're putting it down, just kind of be careful where you're placing it, because you've already taken off all the tape. All right, and then we can do the same thing at the back here. So again, it's just that same 1 by 7 1/4 size. And I've just added my score tape. And I'm just going to place it right here. If you're using a directional one, make sure it's the right direction. All right, so that covers that tape there. And then for this here, I've cut out this little, I don't know what it is. It looks like cinnamon sticks maybe, but I cut it out of the cut apart sheet. So that's where this came from. And I'm just gonna put this right here, just simply just to cover my foam tape there. All right, and that's just gonna go right there. So it covers that up, and that's it, you guys. This is finished. I gotta say, I really like this little album. So these are technically for 4x6 photos, but the mats are 4 1/4 by 6 3/4, just so I could add a little bit of pattern paper to the top, and then the backs are blank, so you can add your photos there. And these two go in this pocket. I like that we can see the Santa through the front. And then when we go to the back of this page, we have our little tag part that comes down all the way there. And then remember, it magnetically closes. And then we've got lots of spots for photos in here. I added one of the little cut apart pieces, but I left it open. I only glued it here, so you're able to put your photos in on both sides, but have that cute little embellishment. And then this is just kind of a floating photo mat here, so this will fit a 4x4 photo. And then we've got 2 more 4x6 cut aparts here, and then it opens here. And then this is the back. And again, I've got a floating one here because that magnet kind of holds it in there. So I also love that you can also see through the back. I think that is so pretty. So that is our cute little acetate album. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this. If you do make it, pretty please, if you're not already in my Create with Martha Tucker Facebook group, ask to join. I'll put the link below. And then if you make it, you can post yours in there. I would absolutely love that. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would love if you would subscribe. We've got lots more fun holiday 2022 series videos coming. Plus, I've got some big plans for the new year as well. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.